Hey there, this is Plus Frames, and welcome to the 9th episode of a Mortal Kombat podcast, which is an unofficial podcast for the MK fanatic. This episode's going to be pretty quick. It's been a long time since I've discussed MK11 related news, so that's really what this episode's going to be about. I'm going to discuss the Steam Trophy leak and why I don't necessarily believe it. Now, I could be wrong. I'm about 50% accurate on my leak meter, so I could definitely be wrong. But just a disclaimer, because I don't necessarily believe this leak, I won't discuss characters because I don't want to get people hyped for characters that I don't necessarily think we should expect. If you do want to find out who those characters are, I'm sure you've probably already heard of this leak already and know who they are, but in case you haven't, just Google it or something. You'll find a lot of different videos talking about all of the characters already. With the characters that have been revealed, and I guess some of the characters that have been alluded to in these leaks, there's some real character hatred going around between what characters have made it in and which ones haven't, and it's kind of showing a real ugly side of the community that I haven't seen before, so I'm hoping I can kind of share some of my experiences and maybe smooth it down a little bit, but we'll see. And finally, I just want to go over some details regarding my podcasts and the various mediums I use to share it, so stick around for that. So the first thing is the Steam Trophy leak. So if you don't know, several days ago, a few MK11 trophies got uploaded to the Steam page. And in that upload, there was one returning character who is new to MK11, but, as a familiar character, seemed to have been revealed. A whole bunch of people went crazy expecting that we were getting this character that led to some of the hatred that I'll talk about later. But then the next day, more trophies got uploaded to Steam, and that basically gave us the full roster. The leak itself didn't have the full roster. There's quite a few characters that we know are going to be returning weren't in it, such as Geras and maybe a couple others. But if you add up those characters that were shown in there, as well as the characters that we know to be in the game, and ones that seem to be in the game from various screenshots and whatever we've seen, it adds up to the 25 characters we see on the character select screen. So basically, the whole roster is revealed if we're limited to those 25 characters. And people are really upset about this because NRS has been kind of promising we're going to see a lot of fan-favorite characters in MK11. Maybe as part of DLC, we're not sure. But this roster doesn't seem to have too many fan favorites in it. Like, the leak especially, there's one or two, but then there's a bunch of other characters that people are kind of like, what? These, why are these fan favorites? I personally think the roster could have more fan favorites, but overall I am happy with the roster. So, if this is the complete roster, I'm personally okay with it. Some people are not, but that's on them. But I don't necessarily think this leak is legitimate, though. The first thing that came to my mind the second I saw it was the Steam trophy list is being updated 2.5 months before the game is released. That just seems way too premature to me. That's something that, especially with NRS knowing that people are rabid for any information they can get, and they're looking for any piece of info they can, updating this 2.5 months before the game is revealed just seems absolutely crazy. It could have been a mistake. I'll discuss that in a bit, but I don't really think it has been. Now, another part that came to me last night while I was thinking about it some more was it wasn't like this was the first initial leak and everyone lost their minds. A day before that, as I mentioned, a character was revealed through the very same trophy list. And trust me, people on Twitter, people on Reddit went absolutely crazy. There was a whole bunch of YouTube videos going up about this character being playable in MK11, this and that. There is no way NRS did not see this occur and that this character was leaked. So if they had noticed this and realized that that was an error, that they put this out too prematurely, they're surprised that people even saw it, why the hell would the next day they update even more characters onto the list that they wouldn't want revealed? Now, it was maybe a small possibility. Maybe they were doing the first one and people found it, and then in the panic, someone got the wires crossed, and instead of heard, don't upload it, they heard do upload it or something, and they uploaded the rest. I don't really believe it, because the list still isn't complete. There's still characters that are missing on this leak, such as Geras, who we know is obviously a playable character in MK11, and there's a bunch of other trophies that aren't there. So I don't think it was necessarily a mistake on NRS's part. There is definitely a part of me that says, well, this is NRS and they love trolling the community. It's one of the things that they've really always have done since the days of Ermac in MK1. Or maybe I should say, I guess, technically MK2. Ermac, the code for Ermac was found in MK1, but I don't think it was until MK2 that they really played with it. Anyways, NRS is definitely a company that likes to toy with people and troll people. I don't necessarily know if they would troll people this hard, and the only reason I say that is, while a lot of people don't seem too excited by the characters on the Steam trophy list, there's a couple, but overall I don't think people are too thrilled with it. If it turns out to be completely fake and NRS was behind it, there are going to be people that are really pissed off that their character was shown on this leak and then they don't make the final cut, so that could really piss them off. I don't know if NRS would do that intentionally. There's also a possibility that NRS really did legitimately update these to Steam, but Steam wasn't supposed to publish them on the website or in their coding in their database or whatever, but then they slipped up and got it released. Now, I don't know the intricacies with Steam, how long before the game's released you have to update this stuff, but I can't believe that it would be 2.5 months in advance. I think that really this is something NRS would hold tight to their chest, as they really have for most of the game so far. Hold this tight to their chest and release it until the very last minute when they can. The game's not even gold yet this information's out there. I don't really believe this is real. What I think is most likely is that someone that wanted to just kind of troll the community just uploaded them to Steam. And if you look at the trophies themselves, they don't really seem like two similar trophies that we would have seen in MKX. They seem very generic and very simple, and it doesn't seem like real trophies to me. They all seem really simple, and I don't think NRS would necessarily do that. I don't really believe that these trophies are real, and I don't really think that this leak is indicative of the complete roster. The only way, and I'm cautious of saying this because I don't want people to get too excited. The only way I believe that this is real is if NRS is actually planning on shipping the game with more than 25 characters in it. And yeah, these are the 25 characters and people are going to get kind of annoyed with it, kind of pissed off with it, whatever. But then, as we get closer to the game, we realize, oh, damn, we're getting 35 characters and these 10 characters that we wanted are going to be in this game. Now that's, that would be a great thing, of course, but I have to be wary to let you know, don't expect that. That's really the only way I could see NRS being behind this, because then the people that wanted these characters don't get upset that, they're then cut, but then the people that want their fan favorites will get them within these other characters that get revealed. And again, this is all my theory. I could be wrong. I'm just looking at it logically, and this is the explanation I come up with. Again, my accuracy on leaks is about 50-50, so this one very well could shoot me down to being a third correct or whatever. Hopefully 2/3 correct, but we'll see. Now, if you don't know, if you didn't catch the last Combat Cast last Tuesday, this Thursday coming up on Valentine's Day, we're getting another Combat Cast, and a female character is going to be debuted. If NRS is behind this leak, it would not surprise me if the female character that gets revealed is a female that's on this list, and then people go, oh shit, this list is real. And then, the next character gets revealed and it's no one on this list, and we're like, what the fuck? The one thing that's interesting is this list does seem to suggest that there's 3 more new characters coming to MK11. And if you don't know the details about the leak, it's basically the first 3 letters of the characters' names have been revealed, and through that we can kind of determine, who these characters are, because they're the only ones with the first 3 letters in their name. Now, if one of these 3 characters get revealed anytime soon, then it definitely adds a lot more credibility to this leak. But again, if NRS is purposely playing with us, then that may be something that they would do to try and make us think that this leak is legit. And then maybe, again, this leak could be legit. We're just going to get more characters. I don't know. It's all speculation at this point, but I just wanted to share my points as to why I didn't personally think it was real. we'll see in the future. Now, with these roster leaks, and I haven't mentioned it yet, really, but before these leaks came out, we had the Combat Cast where Cabal was released, and unanimously everyone thinks Cabal looks awesome. I haven't seen a single tweet of people going, why the hell would you put Cabal in this game? He looks like ass. Like, everyone is completely stoked for this character. Kano was also released in a Brazilian event, and then right after the Combat Cast, Devora was released. And then, of course, pretty soon after that, the character from the first Steam Trophy leak was revealed, and then the next day, the rest of them were revealed. Once people saw this, especially with Devora seems to have a super amount of hate towards her regardless, more so than I think any other character I've seen. But with all of the other roster reveals and potential leaks, if you go on Twitter or MK Reddit, you just see so many people bashing other characters. And then there's people that are screaming that their characters aren't in the game, and then there's other people bashing them for liking that character. If you're a true MK fan, truly, I don't think you should hate any character. And you shouldn't make someone else feel like a piece of shit for liking their character and trying to kind of push them out of the community just by hating them so much and making them not feel like they should post their comments. Yeah, I don't think that everyone should be screaming for one specific character because one specific character isn't in the game. But at the same time, I don't think that you should be retaliating back at them. It's just creating this really toxic environment that I don't think is good for the community. I've seen people on Twitter that I love interacting with that have completely walked away because they're like, this is honestly making me not interested in MK11 anymore. And that's something that I think definitely should be avoided. You know, I'm seeing this on the few people that I follow in the MK community. You know, if this is a widespread thing, that's pretty serious. Now, I just want to share a bit of an antidote, and I shared this on Twitter before, but if you don't follow me, maybe you haven't seen it. In my last 25 odd years, I've played around 30 different fighting games. And I'll be honest, there hasn't been a single game where I've liked every character in the game. I usually love or main a few of them, 1 to maybe 4, depending on the game. Then there's usually a couple more that I like and I play as occasionally. And then the rest I'm just kind of neutral to. The only time I ever really hate a character is if they're completely busted and completely fuck up the whole balance of the game, and there's just like no way that any character can beat them. But that's rare, and that's going to be especially rare in more modern games with the emphasis towards tournaments and esports and things like that. So I don't think people need to get too pissed off. If you don't like a character and they're on the roster, but your favorite character isn't in the game, I mean, I understand why you're upset. It's not your ideal situation. But you have to realize that that character that was selected does have some fans, and that character is going to bring in more people to the game, and that diversity is going to make the game great. It's also going to make matches more exciting for you. Maybe not so much in like a, oh, Noob Saibot versus Smoke way, but if you're like a Melina fan and you're playing against Devora and you absolutely hate Devora, you know, it may be more fun for you because you're more excited to win the match. And if you lose, you know, there's more hatred there, and it just makes the game more fun. So I don't even think you should necessarily want to like every character in the game. I think it's good to have some characters in the game that you don't like. Also, I want to share something. If you've seen some of my profile pics along different platforms, you'll know that Sub-Zero is my favorite design. And you may say, well, what the hell, Plus Frames? Sub-Zero's in every fucking game. Well, yeah, he is. You know, I'm not going to lie about that. But I'm going to be honest, and when I first saw Sub-Zero in MK3, and he had his non-ninja design, and I was a kid, I mean, I was 10 or something at this time, maybe 11 or 12, something like that. I was really upset with that. I was like, how could you make Sub-Zero not a ninja? Sub-Zero's a fucking ninja. And that was part of why I liked him, because he was this cool, deadly assassin kind of a character. And now he's like some regular dude wearing this wrestling costume. And I really wasn't a fan. But it didn't stop me from getting MK3. In fact, I still got MK3. And I learned to play the different characters in the game, and I fell in love with Cabal, with Sindel, with Nightwolf, with Cyrax, with Sector, Classic Smoke. I really liked the new additions to MK3, and it really kind of broadened my horizons. Then UMK3 came out, and I didn't even like classic Sub-Zero. I didn't really like how he played, but that brought Jade, and I fell in love with her. It brought other characters that I just absolutely loved. So don't hate a character and be pissed off with the game or a character or the roster before the game's even revealed. Honestly, if the game looks fun to you and it seems like something you want to pick it up and find the character that you like. Because honestly, a character you liked in MKX will likely play very differently in MK11. So you may not have liked them in X, but you may really like them in 11, and vice versa. There could be a character in 11 that you're just super excited for, and you just absolutely don't like them. So don't get too worked up about, your favorite character not making it in the game. Now, we all have our favorite characters. We all have characters that we bond with and think their design is cool, and obviously want them in the game. And I've seen people that mention that they have like 3 characters that they would love to see, and none of them have made it in the game so far. And that does suck. But if you still want to like the game, I just recommend you buy it and play all the characters and find one that you like. Now, I mentioned in my last podcast that finding that one character that you have fun with is really important, and I absolutely agree with that. I want to make a bit of a clarification, though. What I mean by finding that one character is kind of find that one character within that game. Don't necessarily have a mindset like, oh, Sub-Zero is the coolest, so I'm only going to play him in any game, and I don't really care about anyone else, and if he's not in the game, I don't want to play the game. That's not what I mean. I mean, get the game and play all of the characters and see who you like playing, see whose design you like. And I mentioned in Street Fighter V that there weren't really any characters that I bonded with, and that's not true necessarily, because as a Street Fighter fan, there's a lot of characters I like. I've always liked Ryu, Ken, Blanka, Fei Long, Akuma, Sagat, Bison, Cammy, Chun-Li, some of the other characters. And while most of those characters are in Street Fighter V, I didn't like how they played in Street Fighter V. So I want to make that distinction. The character that I think you should find fun playing, and the character that you're bonded to, while you can have your classical ones, I kind of mean it more within that specific game. So again, don't necessarily just write a character off right now. Wait until you can play them in MK11, and wait until you can actually make a true judgment call on if you like them or not. Also, don't get hung up on details. There are people that absolutely hate Devora because she killed Baraka or Melina in the story of MKX. MK is basically like a soap opera. Just because someone dies doesn't mean they're not going to show up a week later on your doorstep. Don't take the story too much to heart. Who cares? It's just a video game. Don't get so personally attached to the story. Get attached to the characters, that's fine, but don't hold a grudge against the character because they killed your character in the story. So now just an update about my podcast and the various channels. So I'm still going to continue to do the podcast, and I'm still going to do them the way that you've been hearing them. If you've been hearing them through the Buzzsprout website, which is where I'm hosting them, or you're getting them on iTunes or some other source, I'm still going to be releasing them through that channel. But I've also had a lot of requests from people to put them up on YouTube. So I've already put up all of my old episodes 1 to 8, up on YouTube. They're just audio only. There's no video to accompany them. So if you just listen to the podcast, you'll get the same thing. But there is a nice feature of YouTube, and that is a comment section. So if you listen to the podcast and you're okay, listening to it the way you do, that's completely fine. That's not going to change. But if you have any comments, now not only can you reach me on Twitter, but you can also just comment on that video itself, and then I'll see it there, and anyone else seeing that video will see that comment, and we can have more of an open discussion about it, and that's something I'm really excited for. Also, just to let you know, and I mentioned my name on Twitter, but I don't think I've ever spelt it out. So it is +frames_. But just to make it clear, that +frames is one word. There's no space or underscore, anything between the S and F. +frames is one word, and there's an underscore at the end of it. My YouTube channel, however, is +frames, and that's 2 separate words. It seems that in order to have a channel, you need to add a first name and a last name. You need to have both, so you kind of need that space. So Plus is my first name, Frames is my last. Not my real names if you didn't figure that one out, but that's the reason why. Also, My podcast hosting site has storage limitations, and podcast episodes are deleted automatically after they've been uploaded for 90 days. So while all of my podcast episodes will eventually get deleted off of the hosting site, all of the episodes will be up on YouTube permanently. So if for every reason you want to go back and catch an old episode, maybe you want to go back to the Fighting Primer episode, or you want to go back to my canon character speculation and see how accurate I was or whatever, you can definitely do that on YouTube. I'm also in the process of adding the podcast to Google Play and Stitcher. Those seem like there are some other popular podcast sites, so I'm going to get them up on there too and hopefully reach a wider audience and get more people involved in this discussion. But that's really it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any comments, please let me know on Twitter at @plusframes_. Or you can go to my YouTube page now and make a comment on the video. Also, if you have any requests for what you would like me to do an episode on or discuss a theory of or something like that, please feel free to let me know. And please like and share and subscribe and all that beautiful stuff. I really appreciate it. I've gotten a lot more views and positive feedback out of this show than I honestly ever expected to get. My community reveal thoughts episode has something like 160 listens to it, which, isn't huge. It's not like a P&D ketchup and mustard video where there's, 10,000 views on it and stuff like that. But I was honestly not expecting to even break 20 plays on each episode. So please like and share and subscribe and all of that stuff. And honestly, it just really helps me feel like I'm doing something worthwhile. And it will keep pushing me to make these episodes as fast as I can for you. Okay, well, that's about it. Have a good one. I'll probably do another episode after the combat cast on Valentine's Day. It probably won't be the day of, maybe the day after, or maybe a couple days after. I'll see. But expect another episode soon. Okay, well, have a good one. See ya.